Well, lads, the time has finally come. Are you ready?
Oh, I've been waiting since I was a toddler for this moment, Judith. It's been my childhood dream to drive this engine, and now it's being driven for the 100th time.
Very well then, let's go tell him. Good morning, Scotsman, and a happy new year to you as well.
Ah, good morning, Judith, and good morning to you two as well, Stephen and Gordon.
I do say, you three look mighty cheerful.
Well, old boy, this year is very, very special for you.
This year?
Oh, what is so special about this year for me?
Well, Scotsman, after this long time, you are finally turning 100 this year.
Goodness, 100 years? Are you not mistaken, Judith?
Not by a single week, old boy. You'll be turning 100 on February the 24th.
My goodness, it is such a marvel. I thought I would have been destroyed or scrapped by that point.
Never, ever, ever, Scott. You are Sir Nigel's greatest work in engineering. If only he were here now, he would be absolutely proud of you.
Oh, what I would give to see great Sir Nigel again.
Well, I don't think we can make that happen, but being that this is your 100th anniversary, we will grant you a month tour to whichever country you wish.
You mean just like how I went to America?
Exactly. Well, if you wish to go to America, that is.
Oh, America was a great country indeed.
But no, I wish to travel to another country. One that's actually very close to the United Kingdom.
Oh, very well. And, what country would this be?
The Great Centennial.
The year was 2023, and the Island of Sodor was at its peak.
That's right. Despite the many problems that the railway has faced, and it being over 100 years old, the railway is not only living, but it is thriving to this very day. Many people always ask and wonder how the railway was always able to stay afloat for such a long time. Some people say it's because of the railway's uniqueness, always offering unique industries to wherever they're needed, such as the narrow gauge engines. Others say that it's the variety of the railway's multiple different types of machines, like steam engines, diesel engines, and electric engines as well. However, most say it's only because it's the place where Thomas the Train lives, thus being the only source of revenue that the railway has. But I do not believe that that's true. The reason that this railway is up on its legs today is because of us engines. I don't exactly know why, but sentient engines are always built with this sort of motive that we all need to be very useful and do as good as we can when we're bought by different railways. Well, at least most of us.
And this drive has pushed us to accomplish challenges that even during the darkest of days.
Whether it be in times of desperation or in times of desperate need, we sentient engines are always willing to do the jobs and will get them done by the end of the day.
Sorry, I think I rambled on for a little bit too long, but the point is that there's many different reasons why the island exists today. The last reason I just described being the most likely.
On this day I'm thinking, me and the rest of the other engines on the main line were all resting at Tidmouth Sheds after a very hard day's work, and we're talking about various things that have happened in the past few years. So, how's everyone's day been? Quite good. I met up with one of those boys who threw rocks at my coaches back then. Oh, now those little devils are still around? They're old men now, James. The one that came up to me was 80 years old, and he apologized for what he did so many decades ago. And I happily accepted.
Well, your day was more pleasant than mine and Murdoch's.
Oh, and what happened to you two? A lorry driver stopped us at a level crossing. The driver was carrying a bunch of air conditioning units and then didn't tie them down right in his trailer. So when he went over the level crossing, they spilled out the back of his truck and then ended up falling all over the road. The lorry driver was on his own, so he couldn't just get someone to help him lift all the air conditioning units onto a truck. So he got on his cell and called Bob and the Steamworks to get some cranes to help him lift up all the units. Kevin and Lofty were there helping him lift them all into his trailer again, but by the time they were done, me and Patrick were held up at the crossing for over an hour.
How young did the driver look? Rather young. I'd say maybe in his mid-20s. What does that have to do with anything?
Oh, they hired another new bloke. That's why. Another new guy? Well, I'm not really surprised.
After COVID, lots of industries have to hire new guys fresh out of college since a lot of people around the nations have lost their jobs. Their lack of experience really shows. I mean, don't you guys remember Andy on his first day? I couldn't tell if I was going backward or forwards. You can move on your own, so why didn't you just teach me how to drive you? Andy, you can't do a job that you have no idea how to do. Oh, come on, nothing big happened. It's not like you were permanently damaged from my driving. You jammed me on my reversing gear. I had to go down the entire main line to Croven's Gate Works backwards. They did offer to take you there by crane.
I'm an 8F. Do you realize how many cranes it's going to take to lift me onto a flatbed, and the size of the flatbed as well?
Can we change the subject, please? Yes, Alice, I think that would be best. So, Peter, how was your day? It went good. Nothing too interesting. I heard you got to pull the express again. Was it just like last time?
Yeah, it was like last time. I got to go fast and to Vickerstown after a while. That's the best attribute I can give you, Peter. You always do your jobs very well and without hesitation. That's not exactly what you said earlier, Gordon. I beg your pardon? At the works, I heard you say, he'll never pull it as good as me. No, I said I wouldn't deny Peter would pull the express good, just not as good as me. That doesn't really make it any better. Yes, it does. At least I'm not saying he indefinitely won't do good in pulling the express. And I'm sure Peter knows that too. Don't you, Peter? Yeah, I think so. But why did they send you to the works, Gordon?
Some of the rivets in my smoke deflectors were getting loose, and it started to wobble up and down.
I appreciate the Fat Controller for improving our designs further and further throughout the years, but I do feel as though things like these are unnecessary. I think they make you look quite handsome, Gordon. They make you look like your brother, Flying Scotsman. Indeed, Alice. Oh, I miss my little brother. Good evening, engines. I appear to have shown up on the perfect subject. Good evening, sir. What's this about the perfect subject, sir? Well, I've come to bring news about the very engine you were talking about, the Flying Scotsman. Oh, what about Scotsman, sir?
Well, get ready, everyone. This year, February 24th, 2023, marks the 100th anniversary of the Flying Scotsman. Amazing, isn't it?
The sheds were silent. One of the most famous trains in the world was now 100 years old. Until finally, Gordon broke the silence. Oh, that's fantastic! I'd give congratulations to my brother if he was here. Yes, I knew you would be excited, Gordon, but you'll be even more excited after I tell you the next part. Go on. I just got back from a meeting at Barrow with Flying Scotsman's owner, Judith McNichol, and his crew, and they've discussed with me their plan for Flying Scotsman's 100th birthday. And that is that Flying Scotsman wants to come to Sodor and asked me if that would be perfectly fine. And I said, yes, it would be wonderful for Flying Scotsman to come to this railway, and I hope you all agree. Gordon beamed from smoke deflector to smoke deflector. Oh, yes, sir, that would be wonderful. I would love to see my little brother again. In fact, I was just about to ask you if I could go to England to see him. Of course you would, Gordon. Now, is everyone else okay with this arrangement? Of course, sir. It would be wonderful to see Scotsman again.
I actually never met the bloke before. It would be an honor to meet him.
It would be wonderful to meet him again, sir. After I made a complete arse out of myself the last time he was here.
I must know, sir, when is Scotsman coming here? He will be arriving here on his birthday, February the 24th.
I can't wait for that day, sir. No, Gordon, I don't think you can. I've come to inform you this because as the days go on, we will be preparing the railway more and more for the Flying Scotsman's arrival. I want to make sure that everything is in ship-shape condition.
Just tell me when, sir. I'm always up for a fresh coat of paint.
But on top of all this, Flying Scotsman will be staying here for a month, pulling enthusiast excursions throughout the island to Vickerstown. And on his last day, he wants to double-head a train with you, Gordon, called Gresley's Finest. Really, sir? What an honor! I can finally show Spencer what it's like to be important.
Moreover, I can't wait to see Spencer's reaction when he gets here.
I'd give my middle driving wheels to see that. All right, engines, enough. And Gordon, by the way, Spencer is a Gresley-built engine, in case I have to remind you. I know, sir, but he certainly doesn't act like one. Well, regardless, I'm sure Flying Scotsman would like to meet Spencer as well, so don't be rude to him, wagering he doesn't boast first. Right, engines, with that out of the way, that should be all the announcements I have for today. Now, I must get home. My wife is cooking shepherd's pie, and I need to be there for dinner. Good night. Well, that's a way to lift up a train, eh, Gordon? Indeed, Joey. Oh, I don't know anything that could spoil this for me.
I think I know someone who could.
Oh, just my luck. Hello, Northwesterners. Aren't I a sight to see?
We really could have gone a day without seeing you, Spencer, but no, you're still here.
I'd consider that a privilege for most. It's never a privilege being around you, Spencer, listening to your prattle all the time. You're just jealous you're not as handsome as I am, Gordon. What's so handsome about an oversized cowbell, anyway? Charming as always, Murdoch.
Why are you here, Spencer?
Well, I have come to tell you a most unfortunate news. What? Have you come to tell us Father Christmas isn't real?
Wait, he isn't?
No, Patrick, something more sensible than that, of course. The news is I unfortunately have to leave now.
Is that it?
What do you mean, is that it? A famed engine is leaving your railway. Do you have anything to say? You would consider yourself famed? My, Spencer, you are so arrogant. I have been pulling the Duke and Duchess of Buxford's private excursion for 3 generations. I am a famed engine. Did you remember that, Gordon, or are you too old to remember
Will
that?
you go already? I'm tired of hearing your prattle, Spencer. Maybe he needs to keep reminding us about how famous he is, because one day he'll forget because he's so old.
Good one,
Spencer growled as he left off in a huff. You made a great pick, Peter. Alice certainly is a clever girl. How to make a lucky pick?
Don't let Lady hear you say that, Joey.
Oh, Pa, she's not the jealous type. I think it's best we get some sleep. What do you guys say?
Indeed, we are gonna have a busy week getting Sodor in tip-top shape.
Aye, and I've got the Flying Kipper tonight, so I need to get some major rest. Alright then, I'll let you guys sleep. Good night, guys.
So one by one, we all fell to sleep.
The next few weeks kept us Northwesterners busy. There was a lot of jobs to do as the summer heat came in. Engines big and small were working their wheels off to keep up with the summer demands. But the engines weren't just working hard because of the summer demand. The workers and engines alike were making sure that every building and piece of railway equipment was in tip-top shape and cleaned perfectly for Scotsman's arrival. Indeed, because this event wasn't just attracting people all across England, but all across the world. Tickets and reserved seating in stations went from hundreds to thousands within only a few days. All us engines did our parts in cleaning up the rails and maintaining them as well. Fergus and Harvey did their jobs, pulling maintenance trains and repairing the rails that were damaged or needed fixing throughout the main line, as well as the branch lines as well. But the biggest thanks goes to Bob's fleet of machines as well as Miss Jenny's pack of machines. Their help was extremely vital, as they were able to go around and pick up junk around the tracks that even us engines like Diesel 10 or Harvey couldn't even get to. The machines from both teams, despite being road vehicles, were just like us in the way that they wanted to be very useful and always help out others. Despite there being many different rivalries over the last few years between road and rail vehicles, none of us engines ever got into rivalries with the Can-Do crew or Miss Jenny's pack, and also vice versa. Well, actually, there's only one feud I can think of in between the two crews, but that's for another time. And not having any rivalries with the two crews definitely was for the best, since we had to meet our quotas in a very short amount of time.
But eventually the big day finally came, and most of us were waiting at Knapford Station for the Flying Scotsman's arrival. Many of us were so incredibly excited for the famed engine's arrival. However, some were still a little bit confused on what was going on. Right then, team, are you all excited? Yeah, Bob, I'm real excited for Flying Scotsman to show up.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him roar into the station. Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Bob, why are there so many engines at the station today?
Because, Rolly, the Flying Scotsman's coming today.
I don't know who that is.
Who's the Flying Scotsman?
You two have never heard of him.
I can't say I have.
He's the first train to go 100 miles an hour.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Oh, cool. I wish I could go 100.
But what's he doing here?
Because, Rolly, today marks his 100th anniversary.
Yeah, he's an old has-been. That's why he's so famous.
Max and Monty, enough. We don't need you stirring up trouble on this day.
Why are you calling me out, miss? And my brother said that, not me.
You would have said the same thing as well, Max.
Quiet, Pipsqueak. You're lucky Miss Jenny's around, or otherwise...
Bob and Jenny weren't around when Lofty flipped you over, Monty.
Little shit just got lucky.
I don't think he heard you loud enough.
Shut up! I'm afraid to say that Max and Monty's attitudes were just as big as their size.
But on the track side of things, it was a much different story. How different do you think Flying Scotsman's gonna look this time, Thomas?
I'm reckoning he's going to be the same as before, just with smoke deflectors. But other than that, I don't really know.
He's a preserved engine just like me. We'll be right friends, I tell you, Edward.
I think Scotsman's willing to be friends with anyone, Boko.
I reckon you won't recognize him from all the redesigns he's had, Gordon.
I could recognize my own brother in a fleet of Gresley engines, Henry. I'm sure I'll recognize him when he gets here. And the time will be now.
After nearly 50 years, the Flying Scotsman had finally returned to Sodor, and this time with a much wider audience. After about 5 minutes of waiting, the big engine finally made it into Knapford Station, and when the big engine came into view, it was greeted with a chorus of horns and whistles from us engines. Scotsman was very flattered by our welcoming.
Thank you, everyone.
But amongst the crowds of people at the back of the station was a very familiar, stout gentleman waiting for Scotsman.
The Flying Scotsman. It is an honor to meet you here, sir.
It is for me too, sir. And don't call me sir. My name is Scotsman. Such humility. Other engines could benefit from learning from your attitude, Scotsman. Indeed, sir. There are too many unhumble engines today. Well, I know you've had a long time coming all the way from Whitby. You can rest over at Tidmouth Sheds. Do you remember where they are?
Thank you, sir. You are just as kind as your grandfather.
After he was uncoupled from his train, the Flying Scotsman backed into Tidmouth Sheds.
Oh, it's wonderful to be back on this island again. If only I could move here and move out of England. This island is so peaceful, so calm, much more different than the hustle and bustle of the mainland. But most of all, I get to see my brother Gordon. Speaking of which, where is...
And just as he said that, you can only imagine who was on the turntable.
And just like how Scotsman did 50 years ago, Gordon backed down onto the shed next to him.
Well, I haven't seen a coat of blue like that in years. Scotty, how are you, brother? It's been so long!
I am doing perfect now that I get to see my little brother again.
You can't call me that now, Scott. Now everyone knows that you're younger than me.
Well, it was fun while it lasted, and I'd hate to act ignorant for seeing my only brother. The joke's getting old. About 100 years old, as a matter of fact.
Now this time you can say I've changed a bit rather than you.
Isn't it ironic that we both have changed so much, but yet only end up looking exactly like each other? Yes, I do say that is quite ironic. Still, though, nothing takes away from being the only two sentient Gresley-built Pacifics. Now, Gordon, you must not forget that Tornado and Spencer are still parts of the family. Oh, young little Tornado. How could I forget about him? How's he doing these days?
He's doing pretty well. In fact, he actually starred on an episode of Top Gear. Isn't that the show where Jeremy Clarkson and his buddies talk about all those cars? Yes, but they were doing an episode where they interviewed Tornado and his owners, and in fact, they actually did a race with him from London King's Cross to Edinburgh.
Jeremy rode aboard Tornado, James May rode on a Jaguar XK120, and Hammond rode on a Vincent Black Shadow motorbike. How come Hammond and May were riding in such old vehicles? To keep the theme of the 40s, Gordon.
That sounds rather enticing. How did Tornado do? He placed second. He was only 10 minutes behind.
Oh, that's a shame. But what you were saying before, I do consider Tornado a well-deserved part of the family. But Spencer, on the other hand, is much harder for me to say. Look, Gordon, I understand that Spencer is rather full of himself, but he is still a part of the family. He is a Gresley-built engine. Gresley engines treat each other and others with high respect. I get that, and you as well. And Tornado. But Spencer's the only engine who can't seem to get that motto over his thick-headed boiler. Maybe I can try talking some sense into him while he's here. Oh no, is he visiting in the time that you'll be here, Scott?
Remember what I said, Gordon. And yes, he is visiting. The Duke and Duchess of Boxford asked me and the Fat Controller if they could run their excursion in the time that I will be here.
To which I happily said yes. And so did the Fat Controller.
I'm sure he won't stop whining about how he's not the one in the spotlight. Mayhaps it'll give him a lesson in humility.
Humble Spencer? I don't think I'll ever see the day, Scotsman. I'm sorry.
Oh, I say, what is that?
everyone please. There will be more than enough time to talk to the brothers. Well, you wanted to be famous, Gordon? The worst part about it all is interviews. Oh, poppycock, I get interviewed all the time. Well, be prepared to answer questions until the sun goes down. You'll need the energy. Indeed, from the way Gordon puts it, there was more questions asked him than there were words in a dictionary. Some of the questions they asked were quite surprising, and quite infuriating, to put it frankly, as he said. And as Scotsman put it, it was quite comedic.
Gordon and Scotsman weren't the only ones being interviewed. Around the island, several groups of interviewers and photographers came to ask us engines various different questions about our railway and events.
I know I've said on a previous occasion that engines from Sodor get asked questions and get interviewed all the time.
But this time we were getting questions from interviewers from news broadcasts, celebrities, and even TV show hosts. It was quite glorious getting so many different people asking us questions on Sodor. However, for those who had more infamous lives on Sodor, the time wasn't quite as glorious. You see, when they asked questions to engines like Diesel, they would often ask many negative questions that made Diesel look like a complete twat, to put it lightly. And rightly so, since he was a twat when he first arrived. One of these groups of people were asking Murdoch about his past conduct. But Murdoch felt very offended by something that the group said. The argument was so intense that the station porter had to come out and fizzle the argument, and Murdoch had a lot of explaining to do when he came back to the sheds.
Murdoch, I am very disappointed with your behavior. With all due respect, sir, I'm not letting any punk kids call me an asshole.
They wouldn't have called you that had you not barked at them to get off the tracks.
What do you expect me to do? Just leave them on the tracks? We handle matters around this railway professionally, Murdoch. I thought after 70 years you would know that by now.
I tried my hardest to be professional, but when those persistent little buggers wouldn't stop moving, I made them move. Plain and simple.
I don't expect this behavior from you, Murdoch, when we have guests over.
And I don't expect to have my nose bitten off by doing the right thing.
And you can be expected to handle coal trains until Scotsman goes away. But sir, most of our shipping contracts are getting renewed next week. Don't we need all hands on deck?
The Duke and Duchess are lending me Spencer to help out with the goods work, so you won't be left alone.
Spencer?
We might as well lose all our contracts if Spencer's gonna help with us.
Indeed, sir. Spencer brings nothing but trouble when he comes to this railway.
Oh, come on, guys. Spencer's help is better than no help.
You were at the works last time, Peter, so you didn't get to see how much of a fool he made out of me. Peter's right. Whatever kind of help he can receive is optimal.
You've met him before. You know that Engine's a complete snob.
Indeed, I do know, Alice. But it'd be unfair if we didn't give Spencer the chance at redemption. Every engine is deserving of it. Even Diesel. And you, of course, Patrick.
It took me only a month to recognize my faults. But Spencer hasn't even realized it since he was built.
Listen, everyone. The Duke and Duchess of Boxford assured me that if Spencer acts up, they will send him packing and get him away from the island.
But if Spencer is doing a good job, I do not want you lot complaining. You've been through desperate times, and you've been through war. You can handle an arrogant engine. And as for you, Murdoch, your coal duties start tomorrow, the same day that Spencer's coming.
Are you serious? I don't want to have to put up with him and his bull.
Murdoch, enough, dude, Jesus.
Thank you, Joey. And as for you, Murdoch, I should be seeing you at the coal mine tomorrow by 6. Thank you. What a way to have my back, Joey. Thank you for that.
Look, Murdoch, I understand that persistent pedestrians can be a real hassle.
But that's not the only way to handle situations.
It was the quickest way I knew how to, Joey.
Murdoch, had your method worked, the station porter wouldn't need to have intervened.
Well, okay, I suppose you're right. But that doesn't solve the Spencer predicament.
It's a predicament, but one we can't fix.
I hate to say it, Scotty, but you're likely to see Spencer at his worst this week.
But remember, lads, if he starts acting up, the Duke and Duchess are gonna send him away for good. Exactly. Spencer wouldn't want to throw his own reputation down the line over his ego.
You might never have ever met Spencer before then, Scotsman.
Come now, James. I'm sure Spencer would never throw his ego over his reputation.
That's the question of the year, I said. Although I didn't know how true that would be until the next day. The next day, Scotsman was backing down on another one of his excursions he was taking to Barrow. Hank and James were at the station watching them as they were about to depart right after him. Why, howdy, Scott. Nice to meet you again. Is that you, Hank? Oh, it's wonderful to meet you again.
Wait, Hank, you've met the Flying Scotsman before?
Yeah, in 1972 when he visited Dallas. And I thoroughly enjoyed my visit over there.
You know, I've never met a lot of Yanks in the time. The only ones we really meet are the ones who interview us about the railway series. You've met a great deal of Yanks during the war, haven't you, James?
Well, yeah, but war soldiers are much more different from people that are attached to their phones of video games, wouldn't you say, Scott?
Yeah, that TikTok can be quite annoying at times, but I mean, I understand it's different. different generation now, you two. But I think I know someone else who gets on my nerves.
Hello again, Northwesterners. I have come graciously once again for the Duke and Duchess's excursion of Sodor. I must say that it's quite an entourage for me this time.
None of these people are here for you, Spencer.
Huh, and who else would they be for? You, Little Red?
My god, does your ego affect your vision as well, Spencer? Take a look on who's on the platform to your right.
Spencer looked to his right and was shocked on the engine who was on the platform.
Hello, Spencer, dear cousin. It is wonderful to meet you again.
Oh no, you are here?
What? Aren't you happy to see your cousin?
Why would I be happy to have my spotlight casted away from me?
Ach, Spencer, have you no manners at all?
What manners should I have for an old has-been like you?
I hate to be that guy, but I saw this coming.
Don't pretend to know me, you American twit.
Spencer, I say, that is enough! Spencer's firebox dropped when he heard that voice.
There, standing in front of him, were the Duke and Duchesses of Oxford, England, and the Fat Controller.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Islington, I'm sorry, that was all out of context, I promise. Ooh, that indeed wasn't, and you certainly aren't making a good first impression for me.
First impressions for what, exactly?
That is what we wanted to talk to you about, Spencer. In the interest of the Flying Scotsman being here, and we thought that you wanted to see your cousin, we decided to lend your services to the Fat Controller for the week that we will be on vacation here.
Spencer perked up as he heard this.
Oh, I presume my services will be for your express, Topper, will they not?
Oh, not quite.
With one of my biggest engines being on coal duties, as well as the incoming ships that are going to be coming in this week for goods work, you'll be working
As a goods engine.
What?
No, there must be some mistake.
Oh, it isn't, Spencer. We've done this on purpose. The Fat Controller told us you were boasting again. So we hope that this entire week before you head back to England will humble you and make you a better engine. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I will learn.
And as your first assignment, there's a train up at Vickerstown that needs to be taken here.
Yes, Spencer said.
I imagine the feeling must have been similar to like when a dog walks with his tail between his legs.
Ow, watch it, you big bonehead!
Quiet, you filthy cattle stables on wheels!
What's this now? The great Spencer pulling a goods train?
Oh, spare me, Stanley.
Makes sense. All that talking out of your ass finally got you pulling trains now, doesn't it?
No, it's only for a week, that's all.
That's what they all say, you know.
Harsh coming from you. You were only meant to be a temporary engine, you know. Oh, this is too easy.
I say, Murdoch, is that all the coal you've received from Father Christmas for being such a naughty boy? There's more shit coming out of your mouth than I have coal in my trucks. Ha 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 ha! Spencer laughed as he puffed away with his train.
But Stanley looked rather disappointed at the big engine.
If that engine doesn't change, he's gonna find himself in lots of trouble.
Unfortunately, that wasn't going to happen very soon. Over the next 2 or 3 days, Spencer was finding himself doing some very dirty work.
And he would not stop complaining.
He was also extremely rude, too, as he went up to old Farmer Benny's farm. But the Fat Controller wouldn't crack and only gave Spencer dirtier and dirtier work to do. Not only did it make his paint work dirtier, but his attitude as well.
For every job he was given, he would complain, much to the dismay of many others.
We were all thinking that Scotsman was wrong for what he said. Spencer's chance of redemption seemed very vague. Even Peter was getting annoyed, and he was the most tolerant of all of us.
Now, I understand that, frankly, no one likes Spencer.
But Murdoch and Spencer have especially bad blood.
the specifics of which I'm going to go to another time. It's a very long story. However, it's important to remember this because this day, things went very, very south for Spencer.
No, we want a proper engine to pull us, not a white monster.
Oh, I detest this railway. Ahoy, Spencer! I say, you're not a common sight around here, are you, lad? And I don't plan on being one, dear engine. Might be a new environment for you, but it certainly must be better than being cooped up in a shadow all day. What'd you expect, Salty? Pompous Pistons here got his buffers dirty once, and now he won't stop complaining. Silence, you overgrown weed! What the hell did you call me down there? Alright, mateys, enough! Being on this railway alone is undignified for an engine of my status. Careful when you boast about being dignified there, Spencer. It is the truth. Why should I be careful about saying that?
Look, Ben, it might be Spencer over there, but he doesn't come to the docks now, does he? No, Ben, it's a big piece of stone we need to take to the quarry and get crushed by the machines. A big piece of rock. That's the best thing I come up with,
Oh, I have had it with this wretched railway. Settle down, me hearty, they're only teasing. No, I will not, engine. Oh, enough with that engine crap. I've got a name, you know. My name is... Irrelevant. I don't care what your name is. I don't give a rat's ass what the names of any of you peasants are. I am a private engine of royalty, and you all are only public citizens. You are beneath me. You all give me lessons and talk to me as though I'm some kind of toddler who needs help. Well, I don't. I don't know what kind of coal my owners were smoking when they put me to do menial tasks on this menial railway. And it is criminal, especially that Scotsman bastard wants to steal my thunder. Oh, I could go on and on. But I have work to do. Work that is more important than you, little red engine. Goodbye. One more thing, lad. What? There's gonna be rain later on, so watch your speed. And one more thing. If you ever come back to my harbor with that attitude again, I'm gonna put you on one of these ships and send you back to the mainland myself. Anything to get off of this lousy railway. And welcome back to the BBC Sodor. My name is James Howard.
And I'm Martha Wayne with the afternoon news.
Kicking off the broadcast today, a rather tragic news happened just outside the town of Kildane. A train crash happened between two different trains, a gigantic coal train and a speeding goods train.
Only a few hours earlier, the citizens of Kildane were absolutely terrified and shocked to realize that a train had crashed just outside of their city. And look at that, just over a bridge. Oh, that could have been terrible had the train crashed over there and landing on top of the road, possibly killing people inside of cars and such. Fortunately and mercifully, police and ambulance workers say that there have been no deaths, but quite a few injuries, including the crew of the colliding goods train and the engine itself. We could not get an interview with the Fat Controller about this accident. However, he has stated that all mainline services are being suspended until further notice or until the crash has been cleaned up. We will now go to our live reporter, Kathy Hartley, who is getting multiple interviews and questions answered from multiple people at the scene. Kathy?
Thank you, Martha. I'm at Kildane now, and right behind me is the train crash in question. We've been running around Kildane interviewing multiple people who witnessed the crash, or heard them at least from their respective homes, and they seem to be very concerned in the fact that they could have been part of the accident. Here's what some of them have to say.
I was just eating some bangers and mash at the local pub on my lunch break, and then all of a sudden, I hear this earth-shattering crash. I walk out and I see metal bits and chaos all amongst the tracks. It's scary to know that one of my younger cousins works amongst the railroads. He could have easily been dead had he been riding one of those trains.
I was sitting here waiting for the local passenger train to come by and take me to Crook so I can go visit my grandchildren. And then all of a sudden I hear a bang so bloody loud that it nearly knocked me off my feet. My son works as a driver for one of the engines on this railway, so I pray that he's gonna be alright and he doesn't experience something as bad as this.
It's certainly terrifying knowing that so many fatal events could have happened but were prevented simply by blind luck. However, we wanted a true insight on what happened at the scene, so we managed to land an interview with one of the engines allegedly involved. His name is Murdoch Riddles, an Orange Class 9F who works for the Northwestern Railway as the heavy goods engine. And we're cutting to the interview right now. Mr. Riddles, would you please care to explain the scenario through your own eyes?
Well, I was just pulling out of Kildane coal mine with a long train that I needed to take around the entire island of coal.
Then out of nowhere, I hear my co-worker Spencer whistling at the top of his valves.
And then just a few seconds later, he slams into the back of my train, jolting me forward. I was very shocked at the whole ordeal.
I've been told that your relationship with Mr. Spencer Gresley has been rocky, to say the least. Were you in any way troubled by when he crashed into the back of you?
It all started with a feud between me and him many years ago, and that has evolved since. It's a very long story, but I never wished him any physical harm, and knowing that he's at the steamworks unconscious is very troubling. And it's very especially troubling to know that he might have some long-term effects because of this crash.
He's in big trouble, sir. Once he wakes up.
Oh, he's waking up! What happened to me?
You alright, Spencer? Are you hurt?
I'm rather groggy, sir.
And very sore from...
Oh, I didn't mean if you were hurt, as in physically.
I meant, are you hurt mentally, Spencer?
Excuse me, sir. What is this attitude you have uplifted upon me?
You pipe down, you overgrown seagull dropping!
The steamworks was completely silent. Everyone stopped working. Everyone stopped talking. And everyone stopped moving. No one had ever heard the Fat Controller IV raise his voice in such a tone.
And let me make myself very clear to everyone inside and outside this facility. I, Sir Richard Topham Hatt IV, never ever condone speaking to any of my engines in such an authoritative manner. But when an engine prioritizes his ego over the safety of hundreds of people, trust me, it is most certainly justified. But sir, I would never do such a thing. I would never put so many lives in vulnerability.
Oh, you wouldn't, Spencer? You wouldn't? Then explain to me why you were seen heading 110 kilometers an hour outside of Brenham Harbor, and a further 150 kilometers an hour when you headed outside the branch line.
Spencer fumbled with his words for a little bit, until he finally said something. I was pushed, sir, by the trucks. Yes, the trucks were pushing me all the way to the crash. Yes, that's why.
Oh, I know about the trucks, but they only pushed you after you got to the top of the hill.
What were you doing before you went over the hill? Spencer fumbled with his words again, but this time couldn't make an excuse quick enough.
Oh, so you don't want to say anything? Well, I'll tell you. Salty and Cranky said that when you were at Brendam, you were complaining the entire time. And on top of that, you went on a rant saying that they were all peasants and that you were above them? Is that what you said, Spencer?
Lost for words? Really? Indeed, and based on what we've seen and heard, you're not only going to be in trouble with your owner and controller, but with the law as well.
What? On what charge, officer?
Bunch of things. Criminal negligence, criminal endangerment, speeding, the list goes on.
So I'll be sent to prison?
Quite right, mate. Although the court hasn't gone over your crimes yet, so they haven't sentenced you as of yet. But best believe when they do, they will sentence you hard.
Spencer couldn't muster up the words at all to say anything. He knew that this was all his fault, and that he was in major trouble.
You must feel real proud of yourself, Spencer. Causing accidents, getting into trouble, shaming others, and getting into legal trouble, all because of your ego, just to appease it. You should feel ashamed of yourself, you grisly built lowlife. I need to leave this facility at once. I feel like if I talk to you any longer, I'm gonna have a heart attack or a stroke. I need to leave. I guess I'll be the one to happily tell you that the Duke and Duchess of Buxford have been informed of your accident, and they're considering selling you and buying another engine, as, and I quote, they don't want criminals working for them. Just take me to jail, sir. It's where I belong.
Well, that's the problem. You're so incredibly damaged from your crash that we can't quite send you to jail. In fact, it was actually dangerous even just transporting you by flatbed, let alone by rail.
So the court will be suspending your sentence until you get fixed. But be grateful that you can at least be fixed. Unlike your tender, take a look to your right.
Spencer looked to his right and was terrified.
There, laying on the tracks, was what was left of Spencer's tender, only being definable by the few metal pieces that were painted white, originally from Spencer's tender.
Just know that could have easily been you, my friend. And the only reason you're not feeling anything now is because we had to put so much mechanical morphine inside of you because you were so terribly damaged.
So me and Constable Jamie will update you on when your sentence is scheduled.
I think it's best we leave, Sergeant. After all, I don't want to associate myself with a criminal.
Best give him some time to think.
Oh boy, Spencer would have lots of time to think. He lamented every minute of everything he did in his life until then.
I'm no grizzly engine. I'm no engine at all. I'm a fraud. I'm a joke. A monster. I'm a disgrace.
Alright, Peter, the list is complete. You're ready to go now.
Alright. I'm on my way out. Thank you, Chris.
I made some pretty reckless engines when I was in the States, but never as reckless as Spencer. I know, not even Duncan would be so silly.
Now that's the question for the year, ain't it?
He was going 110 kilometers.
Yeah, faster than I ever seen. I couldn't believe he was going that fast on a branch line.
Just shows you how far vanity can take an engine.
Oh, I'm just glad no one died, especially a train crash of that size.
That cowbell-shaped mongrel. He is a disgrace to the Grizzly name.
I know. ruining the Duke and Duchess of Boxford's name, but Sodor's as well? What an utter ass!
I hate to go against the motto, Thomas, but I believe some engines aren't capable of redemption.
It was the end of a long day for Peter. He had finished taking his last drink, but he was still rather sad.
What's wrong, Peter? Are you sad? Yeah, a little bit. I feel bad for Spencer. Don't feel bad for him, Peter. He got himself into this mess and now he has to pay for it. But he feels real bad for what he did, and I'm worried the other engines are going to torment him for the rest of his life. Well, that's how it is sometimes, Peter. Some engines just need to learn the hard way, and Spencer took the very, very hard way. If you want, you could talk to some of the big engines about it, maybe even Joey. Oh, Joey and Lady are up ahead. I'll go talk to them.
I always knew that engine would be his own undoing, and I was right. But to cause such an accident is just incredible.
Settle down, dear. You'll rage yourself into a tizzy.
It's pretty hard not to, lady. I'm tired of this cycle of new engines coming to the Island of Sodor causing so much trouble. Diesel, Diesel 10, and now Spencer. I'm getting very sick of it.
I get that it's infuriating, love, but you need to look at the bigger picture.
What bigger picture is there to look at?
Oh, hey, little bro. I guess you're heading to the sheds?
Well, I wanted to talk about something. Sorry if I was interrupting something.
Oh, don't worry, Peter. You weren't interrupting anything. We were just talking. And you certainly didn't pull off a Joey.
Oh, why wouldn't anyone let me forget about that day?
So what is it you want to talk about, Peter? And if it's about what happened that day, I'm sorry for eavesdropping on you and Alice.
No, that's alright. I'm not upset about that day anymore. But I did want to talk about Spencer.
Oh, and, what is it you want to talk about? Do you actually feel sorry for him, Peter?
Yes, I do. He felt really bad after I left the works. He was crying.
And so he should be. That buffoon caused an entire accident just to appease his ego.
You must look at the bigger picture, Henry. It's not too late for Spencer to redeem himself.
He's had more than 80 years to redeem himself, lady. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon.
James, remember the Sodor motto. Every engine is capable of redemption. Unbelievable how you could defend such a monstrous act, Joey. It's disgraceful.
Disgusting!
Despicable. Everyone, please quiet. We could actually use your opinion, Scotsman. What's your opinion on... I agree with the 8F brothers.
What? How could you?
Because they see the bigger picture, Gordon. If Diesel and Diesel 10 are capable of redemption, then so is Spencer. After all that he's done, you still defend him?
We're not defending what he did, Gordon. And we're certainly not justifying it.
No, I have had enough. Scotsman, you need to answer me, brother to brother, why you keep sticking your neck out for Spencer. Scotsman, are you alright? The reason why I defend Spencer is because he reminds me of my former self. Dumbstruck was written all across the sheds that night.
He reminds you of yourself. You mean there was a time that you were...
Vindictive, boastful, arrogant. Yes, I had meant to use my time here as a means to tell you all this, and I meant to tell it later, but now I don't have a choice. This was the story of my past. As you know, after I hit 100 miles an hour, I was a world-renowned engine. Movies, buildings, restaurants, all were named after the LNER in my own honor. Passengers and interviewers alike would praise my efforts, and it all got to my head very, very quickly and very, very fiercely. And of course, I became very arrogant. I boasted every chance I could to opposing teams, and even sometimes those on my team. I bragged every chance I could just to make me feel better. But as time went on, new engines were being built every single day. Ones who could certainly go faster than me. Spencer being one of them. New diesels would be taking over my passenger trains and chalking up to all the passengers who praised their efforts. And I would watch from the siding as I saw all my glory taken away from me. I was a famous engine whom everyone had heard of. But now, it was just another steam engine waiting to be retired. And I remember the day that came when my manager came to my shed and told me that I was to be withdrawn from service and left alone. However, he had given me a list of multiple different heritage railways around the country, most that would like to take me in as a special engine for their railway. I asked him that he give me some time to think, and I would come up with my answer tomorrow morning, in which he did. That night, I felt alone. No longer had I my allies. No longer did I have the people who praised my efforts. No longer did anyone recognize the Flying Scotsman anymore. My name was just buried underneath the floorboards, like an old pair of boots. I was only now Scott, the A3 who was soon to be retired. And while I was in that shed, an awful thought came to my mind. And what thought was that, Scott? I, I thought, I thought about selling myself for scrap. Scott, you thought about suicide? At the time, yes, I did. At the time, I thought to myself, what was the point? I was merely a metal shell of my former self. My identity was forgotten by everyone. No one recognized who I was. What was the point of keeping me on? As just some museum piece in a little branch line? No. Why wouldn't I just be scrapped? That's all I really wanted. To just be gone. My prime was over. And at the time, so I thought was my life. But of course, this was all only a thought, and I never went through with it. Ellen Pegler bought me the next day. All of us at the sheds were completely silent. We didn't know what to say. We never knew Scotsman had such a troubled history. Until Scotsman spoke again. And through all my tribulations, I learned a valuable lesson throughout all my time. What would that lesson be? I realized how dangerous pride is, how far it can take us in terms of our lengths. In my case, it drove me to near death. And that's exactly what's going on with Spencer. His pride has eaten him away just like how mine almost did me. It drove him to a point of wanting to do anything to salvage his reputation. In his case, no matter his safety. I am not asking you all to justify what he did. I'm not even asking you all for apologies. But I just ask that you understand what he is going through, as you did me. And that you all give Spencer a chance at redemption. I certainly took my chance, and I redeemed myself. And I know Spencer can too. All of you know that.
There's more shit coming out of your mouth than I have coal in my trucks.
You're right, Scotsman. After all, that's the very reason why I'm on this railway. When I first came, I was full of pride and made a fool of myself. But then, I redeemed myself, and now I'm a prominent member of this railway.
Do you feel as though you can bury the hatchet with Spencer?
I've always been trying to bury the hatchet with Spencer, but he just never wanted it. He always had something to say. Well, now I think is a perfect time than any to not only bury the hatchet with you, Murdoch, but with everyone here. What do you all say? I believe so, Scotsman, so long as Spencer also sees sense. But aren't you leaving with your exiting train tomorrow? And I'm supposed to be double heading with you. Will we have time to go to the steamworks?
I'll be more than willing to wake up early to see Spencer for the last time.
Wake up about as early as me. I have to pull a heavy train tomorrow at Vickerstown, so I have to get up early to get there anyway.
A sound idea, Murdoch. Well, if we're gonna wake up early, we must get some sleep.
Indeed, another sound idea.
So one by one, the rest of us all fell to sleep. But the Gresley brothers were in for one hell of a day tomorrow.
It had been in total about a week ever since the crash, and Spencer was more devastated than ever. He was ashamed of himself. What have I done? I've burned every single bridge I had. I have no one to talk to, no one to even speak with. I might as well sell myself to the... Scotsman had woken up early in the morning to go all the way to the steamworks to visit Spencer. Spencer was extremely nervous when he saw Scotsman roll into the steamworks looking at him, until he saw the smile on his face. I see you find humor in my shave. Humor? I don't find any engine's shave humorous. Well then why are you smiling? Next, Gordon came into the steamworks, but this time he didn't have quite as cheerful of an expression as Scotsman did.
If you're both here to disown me from the Grizzly family, then I already know.
I'm sorry, but I deserve it. You have good reason to think that, Spencer, but you are not quite correct.
Gordon, we went over what we were gonna say when we were getting here.
I said that would have been the case, Scotsman, but thankfully to that story you said last night, we're giving Spencer another chance, and he should thank his lucky stars.
What story are you talking about, Gordon? Look, Spencer, I, like the rest of us on Sodor, am incredibly disappointed with your behavior and this accident that you have caused. However, there is a part of me that empathizes with what you're feeling right now. I appreciate it, Scotsman, but you know nothing about being so arrogant like me, humble Scot. No, Spencer. I was not always the humble engine you see before you. Whatever do you mean? Scotsman relayed the entire story he told the night before to Spencer, and he also told him about the time where he thought about selling himself for scrap. And Spencer, like the rest of us, was shocked to hear about Scotsman's story.
Wow. Scotsman, I never knew you had such a dark period in your life.
I know that exact pain, Spencer. You're going through it right now. You're questioning everything. Your reputation, your status, yourself, and your purpose. Spencer, we need to know now. Why did you start being so arrogant in the first place?
I'd rather not say it. It's very shameful.
I know no one likes to look back on themselves from the past. But I told you my story, you must tell me yours.
All right, I suppose.
When I was first built, I wasn't anything special. I was just one of the 35 A4s built and nothing more. However, that all changed one day when the Duke and Duchesses of Boxford, England were riding aboard one of my expresses. They said that I did such a well job pulling the train that they wanted me to be their private excursion engine, pulling them around England with invited guests and family. And I was thrilled at the opportunity. In fact, the Duke and Duchess of Boxford approached Sir Nigel Grizzly that day and gave him the money to build a new engine to replace me on the railway, to which he happily said yes. In fact, interestingly enough, the A4 that was built was named Sir Nigel Grizzly. I reveled in being the Duke and Duchess of Boxford's private engine. I got to go all around England to places I've never seen, and I did boast about it, but at first it was only meant to be a little competitive boasting, nothing vulgar or atrocious. And for a while, I let it get to my head, and I boasted in places where I shouldn't have been. However, I think I boasted one too many times for the other engines. There was a period in which I stopped my boasting ways and tried to get back to work. However, all the others made it very clear that they did not want to talk to me, no matter what. Even when I tried to engage them in conversation, they just puffed off and left whenever they could, as soon as they could. And even when I tried to be nice, they didn't care. They just hissed me with seeing them puffed off. But the straw that broke the camel's back that night was that night we all argued at the sheds for one final time. Alice and Molly were on the LNER at the time, so they argued against me as well. And I was arguing against my former friends too. But until one of them said, "We don't want you here anymore, Spencer. That's why we don't like you." Frankly, I don't care. It's not your decision if I stay here or not. Well, we decide that we don't want you sleeping in our shed. Why can't we all forgive and forget? We're family here. So what if I got the Duke and Duchess of Boxford's excursion as their private engine? You're not family anymore, Spencer. Oh, stop getting tender-hurt, Alfred. You're just over-exaggerating because you're mad. No, Spencer. We've had enough. We are kicking you out of the Grizzly family. Oh, don't be absurd, Alfred. Are you really going to hold on to a grudge for this? No, I'm afraid Alfred's right, Spencer. We don't want you staying on our railway anymore, tainting us with your vulgar attitude. Wait, what? You can't be serious, please. You must be joking. With that attitude, Spencer, we don't want you here. That attitude does not define a Grizzly engine, and you know it. What? But I can change my attitude, Alfred. I can. Too little, too late, Spencer. We're done with you. Go sleep somewhere else.
Alfred, you said we were gonna go over this calmly, not like this.
Yeah, well, we left that part out because we knew you would say no to it. And as for you, Spencer, leave now. This is the last time I will tell you. That night, I left the sheds with a new feeling inside my boiler. I felt betrayed by my own family. That night I realized the truth. How easily it is to forget someone. How easily it is for everyone to hate you. And I thought, you know what? If they want to forget me and hate me, then so be it. They wanted to see an arrogant engine? Then fine. I would be the most arrogant engine in England. I would boast all day about my successes. No one would forget about Spencer, the Duke and Duchess of Boxford's engine. That was the uprise of my arrogance. It only got worse from there. Maybe your story isn't as petty as I originally thought. Gordon, stop sounding smart! Indeed, Spencer. I do say that our stories share many different parts to each other. But however, do you know how I changed? That it didn't take you to be a criminal to realize your mistakes? No. The reason why I stopped boasting was because I took a minute and I looked around me. Took a moment and looked. Yes, look. In your boasting, when was the last time that you ever thought about anyone other than yourself? Or even took any time to look outside of your life and look at others? My goodness, I don't think I ever did. My goodness, I was so selfish I never even thought about anyone other than my own well-being. Oh my, I'm terrible. That's exactly what I realized when I stopped boasting. But it's different, Scotsman. No engine has ever liked me. Every engine always sees me as an arrogant private engine. So I never cared about anyone because no one ever cared about me. Had you not been so vulgar when you arrived, Spencer, we would have given you a warm welcome, but you just didn't want that. Gordon's right, Spencer. Your last encounter with your LNER family was indeed negative, as they were jealous of your growing status. But from that experience, you make a preconceived notion of every new engine you meet. You believe that they're all out to get you, that they're all ready to kick you out of their railway regardless of what you say. Because why did they forget so easily? Before the Duke and Duchess of Boxford, I would work my ass off to do my hardest, and they chose to forget about me so easily because they were jealous. Maybe I boasted from time to time, but I never belittled them. They had no reason to kick me out of the family that day. So I thought, you know what? If they are capable of forgetting about me, every engine is. And that's why I belittle engines and make them feel lesser than me. And that's where our stories intertwine with each other, Spencer. In my decline, I also realized how quick it was that people were forgetting about me. Just like how the others forgot about how hard-working you are, Spencer. And also when I was purchased from retirement, no one liked me either. Every engine I went by would always give me a glare of disdain at me, just like the others did you. That is because we both made terrible images of ourselves. And we also never stopped to think about others other than ourselves. That's what happens with pride. When an engine is prideful, they think of themselves way more than they ever did before. And they end up forgetting about those who love them, those who truly would care for them. Thus, it makes our companions forget who we ever were as engines. As this new persona takes over us, they forget about the old one, and now accept us as the new arrogant engines that we are. That's what happened to you, Spencer. After you boasted for the first time, all the other engines thought that you would never change. So, in doing that, you decided to be the most arrogant engine you could so that they would never forget about you at all. However, when it happened to me, I knew that there was only one possible way out of this loop. Redemption. Being a heritage engine meant that I could no longer pull trains anymore. However, I would make sure that I redeemed myself in every other way possible. I would not boast anymore, I would be polite, and most of all, I would be honorable and apologize every time I could. In doing so, over the years, many engines have trusted me again, and many of my old companions actually came up to me and appreciated my apology, and therefore I wore a new persona on my brothers. I was now Flying Scotsman, a famous but honorable engine. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you, Spencer? I know, Scotsman. I need to redeem myself. But how can I do that? But I don't think anyone's ever gonna let up the fact that I went to jail for 90 days. It will take lots of time, Spencer. It certainly did for me. But if you quit your arrogant ways, you will find yourself to be a new engine. and everyone will respect you the proper way. They certainly did me. Now, do you think you could give up your arrogant ways and turn over a new leaf? Absolutely. I would give my back wheels to show my devotion. Just then, a porter came in to tell Gordon and Scotsman some news.
Gordon, Scotsman, you're both needed at Knapford right away. The exiting train is departing in under an hour, and you're needed there right away.
Under an hour? But we need to get ready. It's alright, you both got washed down last night. You can pull the train. Don't worry, sir. We'll be right at Knapford right away. No time to waste, Scotsman. I'll meet you at Knapford. Just remember what I said, Spencer. Every engine is capable of redemption. Even me. I promise. If there's ever a chance at redemption, I'll take it. Oh no, it's raining today too? Not for long. The forecast says that by 3 it'll turn into a storm, Gordon. Well, good thing we're departing at 8. I think I'll just have the rain on my way back to Sodor. And unfortunately, Gordon was wrong. The rain hit sooner than they thought, just before the two engines were about to depart with the exiting train. Rows and rows of buses came to drop off the passengers at Knapford Station for the last excursion Scotsman was doing on Sodor. And those crowds of people were also standing inside the station to get away from the rain. It was pretty hectic since hundreds of people were trying to get onto the train. All kinds of people, ranging from interviewers, celebrities, and rail enthusiasts were all preparing to ride the train. Heck, even the BBC was riding aboard the train. And on top of that, normal trains still had to run like normal, which made things at Knapford all the more hectic. And some of us all the more annoyed. Bast my buffers, can the forecast ever get anything correct? Oh, come on, James, this is hardly the worst storm we've had to go through. Don't you remember 1963? Obviously not that bad, but I'd still like it to not be rainy just for once. James smiled as he saw the Gresley duo backing down onto their train, and the crowd at the station also went wild. And even though it was raining, photographers still came out in the pouring rain to take pictures of the two engines. In fact, the police had to go out to make sure that they stayed off the tracks. Everyone please stand 5 feet back from the rails. There are live locomotives in session.
Oh, I wish I had my own security.
Just then, the Fat Controller stepped out in the pouring rain. Excuse me! Excuse me, everyone, please! If I may have a moment of silence from everyone. Everyone heard the Fat Controller, and they all did just that. Thank you! First of all, I would like to give a special thank you to all my passengers today for being on board for this special event for Flying Scotsman. I'm sure he is very grateful to have so many loyal fans who appreciate his hard work and recognize him throughout 100 years. Give yourselves a round of applause, please. Alright, everyone, please settle down once more. I would next like to give a big thank you to all of my engines, even though they all may not be here right now, and especially to those who are not here with us today. Had it not been for my very hard-working engines, this railway would not have turned into the famous industrial and tourist spot that it is today. And me, and I'm pretty sure my other generation of hats, are very grateful for their gratitude. And I ask that everyone give a round of applause for them, even if they are not here. Lastly, I would like to give one final thank you and also congratulations to the Flying Scotsman here. It truly is a marvel for an engine, let alone a human like me, to reach 100 years old. And on top of all that, to have not aged a single day visually. I mean, I started wrinkling in my 60s, but with Scotsman it's like he's wearing a mask. Thank you, sir. I promise to forever cherish both of the times that I have been on this railway, as they have been truly marvelous. And I also promise to give you some moisturizer from the mainland for your wrinkles. For my sake, Scotsman, I hope it's not too late. I might be dead by then. Now, to everyone here, I do apologize for the terrible weather. We were expecting it to start raining heavily on the return journey, but we're not all perfect. And I do appreciate that you all are still here, even in this terrible rain. So, I think I've said everything I need to say. I wish everyone here a wonderful journey to the mainland, and a safe one as well. And Flying Scotsman, I bid you farewell until the next visit, and thank you for your time here. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Oh, Scotsman, you are so cheeky. Oh, I might be 100, but I still have it in me, Gordon. Ah, I see, Joey. You've made it just on time for my departure. Good timing, fellow.
Yeah, and not a moment too soon either.
Not a moment too soon.
Is something wrong?
I think so. I was passing by Henry's tunnel, and around the area I heard a bunch of rumbling.
Maybe it was just you and your train causing the tunnel to rumble.
No, it wasn't just normal rumbling. In fact, as I came out of the other end of the tunnel, a big rock hit me right in the smoke box.
Are you alright?
I'm fine. A repaint's all I'll need. But about the tunnel, I think the rain's causing some of the soil to be weak, and some of the rocks are getting dislodged. I'll have to go tell the Fat Controller, and probably will have to delay the train.
Oh, nonsense, Joey. It was probably just a stray rock. You get stray rocks all around the tracks all the time.
Gordon, that rock wasn't small. That rock was huge and hit me right in the smoke box. Some of the rocks might start getting loose around the tunnel, and it might cause a landslide.
Joey's right, Gordon. We can't prioritize on safety. We have to ensure the safety of the passengers is our number one priority.
Well, it's too late for that now.
Yeah, you're right, but what do we do?
Don't worry, Scotsman. We'll just worry about it when we get to Henry's tunnel. Now, come on, we have to go.
Well, that's all we can do, I suppose. Alright. Right then, we're off.
And just like that, Scotsman and Gordon set off for the mainland. Goodbye, you two. Tell the others I said bye.
We will, Scotsman, we will. And happy travels.
Stay safe, and watch out for the tunnel, alright, guys? But at that point, the Gresley brothers are well out of the station. Although I really doubt it would help them with what happened next. Gordon and Scotsman thundered out of Knapford, and it didn't take long for them to reach high speeds. At 70 miles an hour, the rain hit their faces like needles as they passed through the countryside. However, the two wouldn't even make it to Upper Tidmouth. As it turns out, that rock that hit me was only the beginning of a gigantic landslide.
And it ended up swallowing all three tracks.
And there were no signal boxes or people around the area, which meant that Scotsman and Gordon would have no idea what was about to hit them. Or rather, what they were about to hit.
Oh, Gordon, I say stop! What? Why? Just do it!
As the two reached through Henry's tunnel, they tried their hardest and put their brakes on full, but nothing could have prepared them for what was happening next. Scotsman, what the hell happened? Well, I think we found Joey's rock.
David, Nicholas, are you two alright?
We're fine, Gordon, but I'm more worried about Scotsman's crew. Oh no. Stephen, Gordon, are you two okay? No response came from his cab. Oh goodness, they're probably out cold. Quickly, one of you telephone for 999 and get a paramedic down here. The other go inside the carriages and make sure that the passengers are safe. Tell them to stay inside until the emergency services get here. We're on it, don't worry. Gordon's fireman went on his phone and called the paramedics, whilst his driver went into the carriages and told the passengers to calm down. However, things were going to get much worse. Alright, it should be the last of the trucks. Now all I have to do is wait for Murdoch and... speak the devil's name, and here he comes. Hey Murdoch, what's going on with your brakes? They sound bad. Don't worry, Caden, it's nothing serious. Just a skipped maintenance date or two. I've had on maintenance brakes before, Murdoch, and they don't sound like that. Well, diesel brakes are a little bit different, Caden. But more to the point, do you have my train ready? Yep, it's all ready to go, right behind me. You want to go get turned around? No problem. I'll use the one at Lower Vicarstown. Let me just get in reverse and... Come on, you stupid thing, shift into... There we go, now we're moving. Murdoch, I really think you need to go to the works. But Murdoch wasn't listening. Murdoch, We need to go to the works. Your system isn't right. Look, I promise I'll go after I pull this train, alright? I promise. Your controls and brakes are getting very stiff. What happens if they lock up in the middle of the line? They won't! Now come on, let's go! Come on, shift into... See? We're all fine and moving. Murdoch, you can slow down a little bit. We're not in a rush.
Alright.
Just let me... Oh no. I can't slow myself down. I can't stop. Don't scare me, Murdoch. What do you mean you can't stop? I mean my brakes aren't doing squat.
Let me try.
Murdoch, your controls are all locked up and stiff. I can't do anything. Your brakes are also locked off. What do we do when we're runaway? I'll call for the rescue center. What's scarier than a runaway freight train? A runaway freight train hitting 72 miles an hour. And that's exactly how fast Murdoch was going. And he was headed for the two resident engines. Alright, Molly, you're settled here. The workman will get you repaired soon.
I would hope so. I hate to be a burden to you all.
Burden? No. You're one of the best mixed traffic engines that we have here, Molly. There are others here who fit the description of burden more than anyone else, though. Oh, Molly, I say, what happened to you?
Ugh, just a broken crank pin, Spencer. Why do you care?
Just making sure you're okay, dear. Would be ashamed if you had to be in the works for a few days like me.
Oh, well, thank you, I suppose.
Yes, and speaking of you, Spencer, the workmen say you'll be done by this afternoon. So when you're done, I'll take you to Railgate from then on.
H26 report, H26 report. We have a double-headed express train derailed at Henry's Tunnel. I repeat, a double-headed express train derailed at Henry's Tunnel. Please report as soon as you can.
Copy 401, I'm on the way. Okay, well it appears I have a more pressing matter to attend to. But rest assured, when I'm done with that, then I'll come and collect you. A double-header express train? That sounds like Scotsman and Gordon. Have they crashed?
Indeed, by the description. Oh dear, I'm gonna have to get there quick because it's a passenger train. As long as there are no more interruptions, I should be able to...
Attention all units, I repeat, attention all units. There was a runaway locomotive in this freight train headed through Turbin's Gate at 72 miles an hour. I repeat, a runaway locomotive and his freight train are headed through Turbin's Gate at 72 miles an hour and show no signs of stopping. Please report back if you have any way of stopping the freight train. Please, this is an emergency.
Wasn't Murdoch pulling a heavy goods train from Vickerstown?
Yeah, that's him, and he's going 72 miles an hour. And he has a heavy freight train? How are we supposed to stop him?
We need to get as far ahead of him as we can and put derailers on the tracks. But I'm not regulated to go 72 miles an hour. Oh dear, and other mainline engines are blocked off by the landslide, so there's no one fast enough from anywhere else who can go over there.
Wait, Chief, I can catch up to Murdoch.
I'm almost ready. All I need is a tender and I can run on the tracks.
Great thinking, Spencer. You can borrow my tender.
I'm bringing a lot of violations, but I suppose that'll do. Let's get you rearranged. Harvey worked fast to arrange the rescue train. Spencer was attached to Molly's tender with a few extra cables, and behind him was a Sodor Works unit coach filled with workmen, derailers, and other equipment. I don't have much to say, Spencer. Just make sure you get 2 miles in front of him at least. Not a problem, Chief. Now there is not a moment to lose. Murdoch was absolutely terrified. He was heading down the main line at high speeds with a very heavy goods train, and he had no way of controlling himself because all of his controls were locked up, and he was terrified. Someone help, please! I can't stop! I'm run away! And as he passed through Kildane, he was beginning to really lose hope, and thought that no one was coming to save him. That was until he heard a whistle in the distance. What? That can't be! Is that Spencer? And unbelievably, coming around the bend was Spencer. Spencer, what are you doing? The right thing, Murdoch. Spencer had now finally taken the lead, and now had to put a substantial distance between him and Murdoch so that the workers could put down the derailers. At 100 miles an hour, Spencer whizzed through the island. Spencer wasn't taking any precautions, and had to go as fast as he could to put a distance between him and Murdoch, as Murdoch was already going incredibly fast. Spencer pushed himself to the limit, going faster than he ever had before. Must redeem myself, must redeem myself. Eventually, Spencer finally had enough distance between him and Murdoch. However, there was a big problem. When the workers were putting down the derailers, they realized they didn't have enough for a speeding freight train, and they had to find a way to slow down Murdoch. Spencer knew what he had to do and got right to work. What are you doing, Spencer? Spencer didn't have the courage to open his eyes, but when he did, he found himself stuck in a river amidst a bunch of wreckage. Spencer, you saved me! Not you, Murdoch. Them. Who? Over there. Murdoch looked down the main line to where Spencer was saying, and there he found another train crash faintly across all the rain. Oh my goodness, what happened over there? Scotsman and Gordon crashed into a landslide that was blocking all three entrances of the tunnel. So when you lost control, you were headed right for them. The rescue team had no engines that were fast enough to catch up to you. So you volunteered to stop me, Spencer? It was the right and only thing to do, Murdoch. Spencer? You're a hero! What? Don't say that, Murdoch. I'm far from a hero. Spencer, you stopped a catastrophe! Of course you're a hero! 3 cheers for Spencer!
Murdoch and the workmen gave cheers and whistles for Spencer and his brave act. Spencer felt that much better after a long while.
Scotsman, if only you could see what I am seeing. Is it the rescue team? That would be delightful. I think what you said finally got to Spencer. Do tell. The rescue process took many hours, but Scotsman and Gordon were finally loaded onto flat.
Alice took away Scotsman and Gordon's Express.
Whilst Hank took away Murdoch's goods train.
There was also tons of rubble cleanup, so every engine that could help helped, including Diesel 10. I gravely apologize for this, Scotsman. I had no idea that anything like this would happen, and if I knew I would have sent this for another day, I apologize to the utmost. It's alright, sir. I understand that no one has control over nature. You couldn't have seen this happen. Nevertheless, you'd best go over and thank Spencer, sir. Spencer? Why should we be mentioning him at all? Because from what Gordon saw, Murdoch was rolling down the line at tremendous speeds. And from what he thinks he saw, Spencer volunteered to stop him. Wait, Spencer stopped the crash? I think he very well did, Diesel 10. For a moment, everyone was silent. No one believed that after such a catastrophe, Spencer had made a complete 180 that fast. Until Sir Topham spoke again. I will go and talk to Spencer, and I will see what really happened. Harvey, recount all the events that you know of leading up to this point. Harvey recounted all the events leading up to the crash to Sir Topham, including the part where Spencer volunteered to stop Murdoch out of his own graciousness. You're telling me that despite everything Spencer went through, and despite his hatred for Murdoch, he went out and stopped him out of his own kindness? When I was at the steamworks, sir, that appeared to be exactly what happened. Spencer, Harvey told me that you were the one who orchestrated Murdoch's rescue, that you jumped in front of him to slow him down and put down derailers with the workmen. Is this true? Yes, sir. I came up with the idea myself. Even the idea of using Molly's tender instead of my own whilst mine was destroyed. Sir, are you okay? I will speak to you later. Spencer knew what those words meant, and he was more worried than ever. At last, all 4 of the big engines were brought to the steamworks, and it took a very long time to get them all back on the rails. Blimey, it's been a while since I've seen so many mainline engines out of service. Sorry, officer, I didn't know I was overdue for maintenance. And I listened to Joey, but I didn't think there would be a gigantic landslide on the tracks. With a bit of extra care, these outcomes certainly could have been prevented. But however, we do have to thank Spencer for this. He stopped Murdoch and thus prevented him from crashing into you two, Gordon and Scotsman. Yes, indeed. Spencer, that was so brave of you, and very unexpected. Indeed, Spencer, I can't thank you enough. If it wasn't for you, dozens of people would be dead, including me. It is what I've been saying this entire time. Every engine is capable of redemption. Spencer here is living proof of that. After causing such a tremendous accident for a very stupid reason, he saved all of us, and I can't thank him enough, and I think he has definitely earned his redemption. I 100% agree. Spencer, you are truly a changed engine after what you just pulled. Congratulations. Indeed, helping a bitter rival for the greater good? The Spencer I knew would never have done that. Thank you. Thank you, all three of you. I guess you could say that the new Spencer is here, and that he is a vast improvement over the last one. And we, of all people, should hope so, Spencer. Spencer gulped in nervousness. There, at the entrance of the steamworks, stood the Fat Controller and the Duke and Duchesses of Boxford, England. Spencer prepared himself for the worst, as the trio all stood before him. Sir Topham Hatt and Mr. and Mrs. Islington, it's lovely to see you all this afternoon. There is lots to talk about with you, Spencer, and we'll start with the more upsetting part of it all.
First of all, it's no surprise that we heard about your little accident with Murdoch and his coal train, and needless to say, we were absolutely disappointed with you.
And when we heard the motive behind the accident, that you were yet again boasting after what we told you when we left, we were absolutely at the wall with you and getting ready to replace you with another engine for our excursion.
And so you should, your graces. I am not worthy of being your private engine.
But, in a turn of events, a little blue birdie told me about a conversation that all the big engines held at the sheds, about redemption and Flying Scotsman's past stories.
And Victor also told me about the conversation that you three had here, that any engine is capable of redemption, even Scotsman. And then Harvey told me about you bravely going outside, despite being still injured from the crash, and stopping Murdoch.
Sir Topham Hatt then relayed this information to us, and when we heard about it, we were conflicted, to say the least.
On one hand, we were ready to replace you with a new private engine and be rid of you for good.
On the other hand, with this newfound attitude you have developed, you've done a very courageous act and saved Murdoch, an engine which you have had a deep rivalry with for a very long time. And that is quite a change for an engine such as yourself, Spencer. Quite redeeming, you could say.
If it were up to me, I would have a very difficult time coming up with a conclusion of what to do with you, Spencer. However, I ultimately have no say in it since you are not one of my engines. But your owners have found a compromise.
Spencer, taking in all the events that we've seen of you throughout the past few days, we have decided to give you one final chance.
Spencer's face beamed from buffer to buffer. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so...
Wait. Don't start thanking me just yet, Spencer.
I've said it before multiple times, Spencer, but I mean it when I say this is your final and only chance left. If you break this promise to me, then you are done. Forever. It doesn't matter what you do. Do you understand me?
Absolutely, sir. I understand. I will no longer boast or anything like that. The old Spencer is gone. I promise I will never go back to my boasting ways. You will have no reason to want to replace me. I promise, sir, with all my might. I believe that. However, you will still have to spend your time in incarceration for your crimes. I can't do anything about that.
Actually, sir, with this new heroic action that Spencer's done, if I tell the court this story, they might very well lighten his sentence. Really, officer?
Yes, most definitely. The court will be very happy to know that you're already making a change for yourself. And you need to be fixed again, so you'll have to wait.
Yes, sir, I understand. And when I get out of here, I'll apologize to every single engine on this island. I promise. I will certainly hold you to that. But until then, know that I'm still skeptical of you, Spencer. Rightly so, sir. I won't let you down. Good. Now anyways, I have to get back to work. With so many engines out of service, there's going to be a lot of complications this week.
Indeed. We will see you when you're done on this island, Spencer.
And with that, the trio left the steamwork, and with it, a very changed Spencer. It had been 10 days since those four were in the works, and it left us on the main line exhausted. Well, at least most of us.
You holding up, Henry? Hardly. The flying kipper last night was 20 trucks. I struggled because we missed 2 days of shipment, so I had to really pull a bunch of fish that night. And I still had to make up for Murdoch's work today. At least part of it. I had to pull all the ice in 6. Only breaks I got when I had to get coal and water. Nothing else. It's amazing how much harder things get when only one engine is out of service. Let alone 2.
At least there are lots of freight engines on this railway, but there are only 2 of us express engines, which means I have to do Gordon's work on top of my own, and no one else. I had to pull so many coaches today that I literally lost count as I was shunting them. I tell you, it's a real hassle when engines go out of service.
Well, it's not really a problem for me. I like the extra work.
I don't know what they built you with when you first came out of the works, but it ought to be that Uru stuff that Mjolnir's made out of, because you just won't break. Maybe so. I mean, Thor is my favorite superhero.
But seriously, mate, how do you do it? I've seen you go for days on end without a single break. Some engines are just built different, Henry. It's the story of my life.
Is that Thomas's whistle? What's he doing around here at this time?
Percy, I'm telling you, you must have misheard. There's no way he's actually doing it. Trust me, Thomas, I'm in just as much disbelief as you are. I just want to see if it'll really happen. It's not as unbelievable as you may think, lads. I heard that he stopped the freight train with Murdoch attached to it.
That's what makes it even more believable. Why would he help Murdoch of all engines? I don't know, Thomas, but I tell you what, it might be possible.
Indeed, stranger things have happened on this island. Hey, Spencer apologizes. That might be the strangest thing that this island's ever witnessed. Oh, come on, Thomas. You know that that's a lie. There's been way stranger things on this island. Yeah, we'll see.
Thomas, Percy, and Edward?
What are you lot doing here?
We were told to come down here whilst the top mat, and you'll never guess what it was for.
And here comes the rest of the cavalry. Finally, my wheels are free! Indeed, I know that feeling very well. Oh, I couldn't agree more. Thank goodness! Just one more day of you in the works and the railway would have collapsed. Pah! This railway wouldn't collapse in the apocalypse, Bear. Hi, Gordon. Nice to see you out of the works. Thomas, what are you doing here? Charming as always to see you as well, Gordon.
All 3 of you, please, don't ever get into another accident again. We've been rushed off our wheels this last week.
Emily, it's not my fault that there was a landslide at the end of the tunnel.
Whoa, I have a bigger question. Why are we all gathering up at the shed at this time? Oh, I guess you haven't heard what the Fat Controller was planning this evening. No? What's he planning?
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing tonight?
Not too happy, I'm guessing.
You're supposed to be in jail, Spencer.
Well, that will have to wait.
What do you mean? Did the court suspend your sentence? Are they off their nut or something?
No, Henry, they aren't.
Sir Topham, what are you doing here?
I have 3 matters to discuss. The first being that, as you can see, Spencer, Scotsman, Murdoch, and Gordon are all back from the works. And for the time being, until next week, schedules will resume as normal.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, except how come Spencer isn't locked up? He should have been locked up like a week ago.
This surprised all of us, Joey, but Spencer did something very brave the last week when he was at the works. What are you talking about, sir? The Duke, the Duchess, and the Fat Controller all then went on to explain what Spencer did and how he rescued the Flying Scotsman, Gordon, and Murdoch.
And in return, we were shocked to learn that Spencer of all engines would do such a brave thing for Murdoch of all engines, his biggest rival.
Wow. Is this all true, Spencer? Did you really save Murdoch to save Gordon and Scotsman?
Yes, Henry, I did. And it was not because it was for glory's sake. I did it because it was the right thing to do.
Never thought I would see the day.
That leads me to my second matter. Spencer has something he wants to say to everyone here. Indeed, sir. To everyone here, I understand that ever since I first came on this railway, I have been nothing but a burden to you all. I acknowledge now that the way I acted was disgraceful, disgusting, despicable, detestable, any word you can use to describe it. I was. Though I always appeared happy whenever I boasted at you, or whenever I mocked any of you, I truly wasn't. Because of something that happened a long time ago with my old Grizzly family, they treated me badly, and I assumed that you would all treat me the same, so I would treat you with such arrogant behavior so you would never forget about me. But that would ultimately be my undoing. You were all nothing but kind to me. You would even help me on more than a few occasions, and yet I would throw it back at you. That is truly disgraceful behavior, and in my crash I had with Murdoch recently, I came very close to losing it all. I thought I had. In fact, I came to a point where I wanted to sell myself off for scrap. I was so depressed at what I've become. But then one morning, Flying Scotsman came to me and told me the same story. He struggled with the same issue I had of having too much pride. He wanted to sell himself off for scrap just like how I did. But he told me the one way to fix it all. Redemption. Scotsman became a new engine after all his behavior, after all his boasting. Just like how I have. And to you all, I want to say from the bottom of my heart that I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for the burden I've become, and I'm sorry for teasing and boasting at you all. I'm not expecting you all to accept my apology. Hell, none of you have to. I just want you all to acknowledge the fact that I am indeed a changed, or a changing engine. I want to be rid of the old Spencer that I once was, and show you all the new Spencer, no longer the arrogant, boastful, immature silver engine I was. Can you all forgive me for what I used to be? Spencer, I forgive you. You do? It's gonna take me a while to forgive you for that crash you caused a few weeks ago, but it's clear to me that you're making a change, and I forgave other engines in the past for that. I forgive you too, Spencer. It's about time we finally started acting like family. Wow. Thank you, Joey. And thank you, Gordon. I can't believe you two could forgive me so quickly. It's the right thing to do, buddy. If you're making a change, I gotta be happy. Forgiving is the right thing that families do, Spencer. I forgive you too, Spencer. What? But after everything we've been through, you would forgive me, Murdoch? Admittedly, I'm still a little bit angry that you sabotaged me that day and made me look like a complete fool in front of everybody. But it's clear that you're above that now, so I think it's time that we bury the hatchet once and for all. What do you say? Indeed. I do say that it is time. Well done to you all. It is certainly good knowing that even bitter rivals can make amends. But now, onto the third and final matter. Flying Scotsman will once again be leaving next week with Gordon. We've triple-checked the weather to make sure that there is absolutely no chance of storms, and that next week will be perfect for him to leave. And Scotsman, your owners are letting me have you here for a week until you leave. And when you do leave, there will be a Grizzly reunion for you two at Barrow, with many different Grizzly-built engines like Green Arrow, Tornado, etc. And I apologize greatly for putting you in danger like that. Oh, it's quite alright, sir. I know no one can control the weather. However, on this trip back, I would like to make a special request. Very well, what would that be? I would like to add one more engine to the train. Like a triple header? Well, who would the engine be? I would like Spencer to tag along with us. The Fat Controller was shocked. As were we, and Spencer even. Scotsman, are you sure? Absolutely. Consider it like a re-welcoming into the family, Spencer. But wait, sir, isn't Spencer supposed to go to jail? The court is postponing Spencer's sentence because there's a lot of work that still needs to be done around here, and Spencer is the only engine. You can count on me, sir. I promise I'll make up for everything that happened the last few weeks. And true to his word, Spencer would not complain. Over the next week, Spencer would be doing lots and lots of tasks before Scotsman's departure, to make up for everything he screwed up the last week. And true to his word, Spencer didn't say a word in response. He didn't ever complain once, no matter how dirty or how hard the task was for him to complete. He would also go a step further and go out to all the engines that he felt he had offended over the years. Along with this change of attitude, Spencer was a lot more safe. He always took care of the cargo that he was pulling in case of danger. He would also be sure not to speed or break any signals when it wasn't necessary, which is pretty much all the time. And about halfway in the week, Spencer was deemed trustworthy enough to take passenger trains. And I'll say, he did a stellar job. According to passengers and other engines, they say his performance peaked. It truly felt like they were being pulled by a whole different engine. I was proud of Spencer, and truly thought that he was a changed engine. Eventually, the big day came once again, and this time, the trio backed down onto the train. A similar group of interviewers, rail fans, and photographers alike came to ask the engines questions and take pictures of them, as they slowly backed down onto the train. The day's finally come, Scott. How did you enjoy your stay and your extended stay? I enjoyed it quite a lot, Henry. It beats being in that shed stuck all day. Sorry that your trip wasn't smooth sailing the entire way, but it wasn't your fault. Don't say sorry. And besides, had I not have been here, Spencer might not have saved everyone. Yes, and I can't thank you enough, Scotsman, for being here and listening to me. I truly am a changed engine all because of you. Thank you. It's what families do, Spencer, and we three are the Gresley brothers. And Tornado too, Gordon, don't forget. Of course not, Scott. Speak of which, is he gonna be at Barrow when we go?
Alright, everyone, please, if I may have your attention. I understand that a lot of people were shocked and injured by that crash, including one of the engines pulling this train today, Flying Scotsman. I apologize to all who were injured. First of all, I would like to apologize for the events that happened last time. I apologize for the terrible weather and the landslide that happened just outside of Henry's Tunnel. I was not informed of these incidents and thus could not have prevented it.
I don't hold that against you, sir. We can't predict the future.
Now, as you might have noticed, there is another engine on the train this time. This engine is Spencer Gresley.
And I know that you are all aware of the accident that Spencer caused prior to this week.
But you will all be charmed to know that he is doing well, fixed, and has changed his attitude completely. This past week, he has promised to make a complete 180 as far as his attitude goes, and he has certainly done that. I also want to ensure your safety on this trip. We have had inspectors from the board of directors come all the way from England to inspect the tracks, and they have assured that all the tracks and cliffs around the area that you will be traveling are 100% safe for travel. There are no chances of landslides or falling rocks. With that should be everything I need to say out of the way. Scotsman, Gordon, Spencer, are there any final messages you would like to say before you depart?
Sir, if I may... Of course, Spencer. What would you like to say? Yes. I know I've done my round of apologies, but I would like to say it again, and start off with you, Sir Topham. I'm dreadfully sorry for all the money that I've cost you my entire life. I would also like to apologize for any harsh things I said about your railway and any other engine I didn't apologize to. From the bottom of my heart. Your apology is taken into consideration, Spencer, and if any other engine says that they want an apology, I'll be sure to inform them. Thank you, sir, and I would like to give an apology, but also thank you to Flying Scotsman and Gordon.
Despite me being the biggest pain, you still came through and decided to help me, and I can't thank you enough for that, for changing my ways.
We forgive you for everything, Spencer. You are a true Gresley engine. And I was wrong to doubt the Sodor motto. You are capable of redemption, and truly, every engine is, Spencer.
A beautiful moment indeed. If that's all that will be said, God, will you kindly give the whistle? Sure thing, sir.
Like that, the trio set off for Vickerstown. Sorry, I know today's story was a bit long, but I tell this to so many people because many different people can learn many different things from this story. Many different lessons could have been learned today. How to always build trust in others. Your family is always there to protect you and help you no matter what. And most of all, that anyone is truly capable of redemption. That's what Spencer learned today, and it was all thanks to the help of the Flying Scotsman. This truly was a great and grand Centennial.